Hello, this is Melissa, your insurance exam queen, and we are here on this channel to help make sure you can pass your insurance exam with ease and confidence.
The broad and special dwelling forms provide two extensions of coverage not found on the basic form. What are they? So this is knowing the difference between basic, broad, and special dwelling policies. Basic policies are so basic. Basic policies do not have much at all. Now, you may not fully know this answer, but I hope most of you are leaning towards the blue one, because when I teach basic Bob, right? So DP1 is known as like basic Bob. There's no tree coverage on a DP1. There's no tree coverage on a DP1. And when you look at these answer choices here, blue is the only one that talks about trees. So you may not know about collapse. You may not know about removal. You may not know about debris removal. You may not know about loss of rental value. But if you remember that a DP1, a basic form, and this is why it's important to know that DP1 is basic, DP2 is broad, DP3 is special. They're talking about dwelling policies here. So a DP1 is basic. There's no tree coverage on a basic. And if you know that, you can choose the right answer. So you may not know the rest of these things, but if you know there's no trees, then you should know that, then you should lean towards choosing blue, because so this is something that I focus on. I will not spend my time teaching you every possible thing. Like when you use my class series or you use my YouTube videos, I will focus on the most tested, most important things across all state exams. Because again, when you think about it, when you get your material, you get this huge, let's say you get this huge textbook worth of material to read. Now, it may be in an online course where you're scrolling and scrolling or clicking, but you're looking at all these pages that I have to read. And they're going to ask you 100 questions across all these pages. And honestly, most of your courses are more like this big, like they're like 3 or 4 notebooks worth of material. They cannot possibly ask you everything. They can't ask you everything. There is no way, enough time, enough questions for them to ask you everything. There are certain key things that they like to focus in on and hone in on. And that is what I teach on, because I've taken many of these tests myself. So I know that they're more likely to ask you about trees than any of these other things down here. So that's why I focus on teaching about trees. And I tell you that a DP1, a dwelling policy basic form, a DP1 is known as basic. We call him Basic Bob, because Basic Bob don't want anything special. He doesn't want anything fancy. He wants the bare bone minimum. He's a black coffee drinker. Watch my dwelling policies video on YouTube if you want to know more about Basic Bob. But there is no tree coverage. So whether you know nothing else other than that, you can make a safe guess that blue is your correct answer, whether you know the rest of these. And don't worry like, well, I only know trees and I'm going to get this one wrong. No, I know trees, which gives me much more confidence that this one is the correct answer. So I would go with blue. So let's take a look, and blue is the correct answer. That a basic policy does not have collapse, and it does not have lawn, trees, shrubs, and plants. Most of you should probably know there's no trees. If you've been watching my stuff, you should know there is no trees on a basic form. If that is the one piece of knowledge that you know for sure, you just got the right answer, whether you know the rest of these or not. And that's what's so cool, is you can know little bits of information that will help you with the right answer. Just don't overwhelm yourself and say, I don't know enough. I only know trees. I'm going to get this one wrong. So because you know trees, you got it right. Okay. All right.